Hello everyone and welcome to Monash University's Graduate Alumni Panel. My name is Annie Louey. I wanted to say thank you so much for joining us, probably after work today. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we are gathered today, the people of the Kulin Nation. I pay my respect to their elders, past, present and emerging. We're at the Media Lab in Caulfield. This is where I did my journalism degree. We do not have these facilities. It looks almost too nice. It's like way too professional. We look like we're on Sunrise or playing a game show today. But my contestants slash panellists today are Bonnie Chee, Andrew Corning, Ahmed, Ibrahim, Megan McDaniel and Michael Rosenbrock. And today we're discussing postgraduate degrees in all of their different forms. So maybe you're watching because you're considering doing further study, maybe you've done a lot of research, or maybe you're just starting that journey. So today we welcome you to ask any questions you would like about studying here at Monash. We also have members of the team from the domestic student recruitment team here. This is Lauren Strathy, and we have others ready on standby to feed some of the questions to me to ask the panellists today. There will be about 45 minutes of chat, and then after that we'll have some time for your Q&As. This is also being recorded and being sent out to anyone who might have missed it. So if you're watching this at a later date, trust me, the panel went so well. Everybody signed up for degrees immediately. We crashed the servers, people. So let's begin with some introductions. We'll start over here. Tell me about what you studied and maybe what your favourite thing about the degree was, postgraduate-wise.
Absolutely. So I'm Megan McDaniel. I studied the MBA, so Master of Business Administration here at Monash. In my current role, I'm going to share that. So I'm the Group Executive at Diabetes Australia. Favourite thing, I mean, it sort of touches on why I chose Monash in the first instance. It was the peer connections I made. It was on campus and really some of my best friends to this day, and I studied in 2017 and 18 are people that I still call with problems, catch up with socially, and that was really what made my experience.
And you studied a sports science related degree beforehand. How did you make that transition?
Yeah, so my undergraduate was a Bachelor of Health Science, Exercise Science, Human Movement, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And it was sort of, you're 18 years old, you go, how do you pick your first degree? And it was very much, well, I like sport, I don't mind science, let's start here. And then through the practical placements throughout my undergrad, I learnt pretty quickly it's the business management of healthcare that I really enjoyed. So moved more into some of those roles in early career. And then later thought, you know what, it would be great to get some real qualifications in the business management side and merge the two interests.
Yeah, amazing. I look forward to delving in more to that later. And over to you. Tell me about, the same thing.
My name's Andrew Corning. I'm the Director of Pharmacy at St Vincent's Hospital, Chief Pharmacist. So I did my undergraduate degree back in... probably sounds old now, but 96, I think I graduated. I then, after a number of years working in the public system, I undertook a Monash Postgraduate Diploma of Clinical Pharmacy. The reason I did that at the time was that I was pretty sure that I was going to spend my career doing clinical pharmacy. So that's why I did the postgraduate qualification. As it turns out, I did end up going into management, and so I did then later pursue an MBA and also some other postgraduate IT qualifications as well.
Wow, there's some really smart people here, just doing degrees for the fun of it, just unrelated to your field.
Work-related, we'll get onto that, but yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Over to you, Bonnie.
Hello, I'm Bonnie. So I did the Master of Banking Finance at Monash, graduated 2019, just before COVID. Right, so I'm currently working in a global law firm, Oslos, as the third-party risk advisory. So mainly look after the supplier contract to make sure it's compliant with the cyber security regulations. And before that, well, also mainly in banking and finance, within the risk and compliance management field, and did a bit of financial crime, anti-money laundering as well. But yeah, as you say, well, my first degree is for fun as well. I did back in Taiwan, bachelor in Chinese literatures, and then did followed by another postgrad in translation interpretation. So I thought I would stick with the journalists like mass media, press release something, but then just opportunity popped out and got a chance to work in a bank. So that's how I first, stepped into this industry. Then I think, well, it's not too bad. At least, we don't need to be on call like 36 hours. So yeah, why not just, experience a new environment and do it properly with another qualification.
Yeah, I expected everyone to be quite humble. So you didn't mention you also run a cafe. Can you tell us about that?
Oh, it's co-managing. So it's a little bit of downtime at the moment. So just helping out my cousin with the marketing and then like business development, because like they have 3 partners. So most of them just focusing on like the cocktail and then like the barista side of thing. But then no one is really doing the management side. So I just thought, maybe I can step in and observe and see if there's any gaps that I can help them to uplift. So yeah, also applying like my commercial sense to it. So yeah.
Are you allowed to say where it is?
It's in Richmond.
Any names?
Asset the TV.
That's it.
Yeah.
Free plug for Acidity Bar and Coffee. Check it out. Give them a good Google review, perhaps.
Yeah,
so
we got like live music jam sessions as well.
Oh, love
jazz.
that. I'm there.
And
this week,
I'm trying to organize like more like different kinds of sessions, like maybe mentoring, just to utilize the place over a weekend.
Yeah, you never know. These degrees are already coming together. Yeah,
exactly. And the place is more relaxed, and we don't need to like suit up and do it like very formal networking.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see.
100%. We'll head over to at the back, Ahmed. Tell us about your background and how you ended up in Monash.
So Ahmed Ibrahim. I did the Global Executive Master of Business Admin when I was still running, so hopefully it comes back stronger. Career-wise, I had a very long and diverse career. At the moment, I am the Group Managing Director for a company called Vision Deploy. There's 3 companies in our group, specializing really on strategy execution. That's kind of what we do most of the time. And me personally, focusing more on the medical and aviation space. That's kind of 2 passions of mine that I lately kind of focused on, away from my early banking career. But yeah, so I started as an engineer, electronics engineer, spent the first part of my career mostly in risk management, cyber, that sort of thing. Then moved to more executive management, client services, then pivoted, became a pilot, a commercial pilot. I'm a senior flight instructor, and I still have that business today. So I actually run 2 things at the same time. So I do still fly commercially as well as run my other business.
Yeah. So you said that you flew in today from Sydney. Were you flying the plane?
No, I didn't fly today. I came.
My ride is here, and you're just like getting
version.
into the cockpit.
But it does happen sometimes.
It does happen. Wow. Okay. I mean, it sounds like you do well under stress. Then this today is nothing. You're not even sweating.
It's hot.
Yeah, we did put a lot of heat in the lights here for you. But we will get into more about how you did your degree while also being at a very senior executive level. So time management is very important when you're doing your postgrad as well. So we'll finish on you. Let's talk about Michael and how he got here.
Thanks very much. My name's Michael Rosenbrock, and yeah, it took a bit of a winding journey, I suppose, to get here and to get to the postgrad qual I did at Monash. I started out, my undergrad degrees were in aerospace and also business as well. Then I worked in the industry for a while, mostly overseas, and then returned to Australia and sort of went through a very deliberate process of eventually making the decision to do a big career change into teaching, which took me to grad dip at Monash, which then I guess takes me to where I am today, which is working with schools and systems and teachers across the country to try and improve teaching and learning. So
yeah. Do you feel like you gained a lot of respect from your students because you had a previous career?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, of course. And they love something different like that as well.
Yeah.
So being an aerospace engineer always has its credits, even when it's been in the past.
Yeah,
for sure.
Amazing. I'm so glad that we have this group of panellists today because I've actually been in your position. I've been browsing masters degrees. So maybe by the end of this, we will choose one for myself. I did have a good look at teaching, so something that could be applied longer term, teaching various things. I'm a comedian, so sometimes I teach comedy, sometimes I can apply the journalism degree that I also have. So any questions that you would like that might be directed at specific panellists, feel free to tell us which one you would like to speak to. So let's go through some of the decisions that you had when you were choosing Monash, because you must also be looking into other degrees as well, not to bag out other universities, but how did you land on this? And some of the degrees we mentioned no longer exist, but they exist in a different form. So does anyone want to jump in to say anything about whether it was easy or not to choose this degree?
For me, it was easy. I was after something that wasn't a traditional. You go in a classroom, do an exam, that kind of thing. I wanted something that wasn't that. And Monash was very clearly, at least for the Gemba program when we did the research, that was very clear that it was all about applied learning. And in our case, it was international, so that wasn't just here. It was traveling, actually seeing other industries, and actually bringing that applied learning to sort of reality. For me, that was an easy sort of choice.
Where did you get to go as a result of this travel?
Went to South Korea, Germany, and we did Spain. So
quite a large spread of countries.
Yeah.
To see.
We're meant to have the US and other things, but things kind of changed. But yeah, so it was amazing.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
Fantastic. Anyone else?
Interesting. Similarly, so I did the sibling course, I guess you could call it, the MBA, and very similar decision-making process in that I was very much looking for a fixed time frame, quite an intense, so it's a 2-year fixed period of time. It was very practical based. There were international consulting type projects and allowed me to be on campus as well. So there were some key things I was looking for, and Monash really helped to tick off the vast majority.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone else?
I think I'd just add, for me, the Monash degree was a really obvious choice for a number of reasons. I needed flexibility so I could fit it around the work I was doing, and looking at teaching too was really wanting the placement side of it to be really strong. So it was a really easy choice because the degree fitted those requirements.
Did anyone else do placements as part of their degree? Yep.
Certainly working in healthcare. Placements are a big part of healthcare.
Right.
So mine is not like placement, it's called Work Integrated Learning, the WIL program. So it's like also consulting for some startup organization, and then you got like 12 credits transfer. So 2 subjects less in examination, so why not?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, love the efficiency. That's so fantastic. Did you feel like you needed another degree to progress your career? Because in some fields you might not need to, but in others you do feel that pressure to level up.
I did. So I did as I said, I did my pharmacy undergraduate qualification. I then did a postgraduate clinical pharmacy qualification, because at that point in time I thought that's what I was going to do. But as it turned out, I went into management. Wasn't planning on doing it, but that's just sort of where things led. And so it was only really when I got that job that I thought I better put some qualifications behind me, because a lot of people, particularly in healthcare, but it probably happens in other areas of work as well, that you will get promoted because of your technical skills. So when you come in as a graduate, and you'll learn some technical skills, and as you get promoted, there's a very good chance that you're going to have to start to look after people, you're going to have to look after budgets, you're going to have to think about strategy. And they're often not things taught in an undergraduate course. They might be touched on, but not to any great degree. And so I think that's the point at which, if you're doing a job and you're sort of perhaps moving up the up the ranks in terms of your organisation, and you are starting to look after people, an MBA is a great, catch-all, because it covers a lot of skills. There's a lot of core subjects, but also elective subjects that you can choose from as well.
Yeah, so for you it was always going to be that course that you chose, or did you consider anything else? Yeah,
well, the reason I actually did an MBA rather than a master's in public health. So certainly working in healthcare, that was one of the, a lot of my colleagues did. And I actually deliberately chose not to do a master's in public health because I'd spent so much time studying in public health that I actually wanted to experience and be with people that weren't health people. Because in every industry, you're trained to think in a certain way and you act in a certain way, the same as your colleagues. You go to conferences, we all think the same way because we're trained that way. And so by doing a course that's diverse, that has other people from different qualifications doing it, I found that experience a really rich and fulfilling experience. So so MBAs are definitely something worth pursuing if you're thinking of going
really
into management.
Great points. Bonnie, I also wanted to talk to you about, not only did you choose a degree in a different country after your undergraduate, but also choosing something so different. What was going through your mind back then after you finished your first course?
So when I finished my first one, I actually worked for like 1 year and a bit in the bank. But at that time, I was without any background in banking or finance or like in the legal side of things. And while having that experience in the actual workplace, and I came up with a better decision that it would be helpful to have some qualification around my belt, especially when I'm moving in a new country and thinking of to settle down here. Then that helps as well. And well, actually at the beginning I was considering between MBA and a more like technical, like practical one. Then I think, well, because my background is a little bit different, I'm changing to a new area. Then I think it would be good to have a balance between the technical side of things as well as the soft skills. And the reason I chose Monash is exactly because from my research, I can tell that, Monash is not only focusing on the academic side, but also provide students with the resource they need, like English Connect, Career Connect, and like different conference, networking events, which you get a chance to mingle with people. So yeah, I think that's the main reason.
Mm-hmm. Were you considering any other countries or just Australia?
Mainly Australia because it's affordable.
Yeah,
and because actually I took a gap year when I finished high school because at the time I don't know, I can't decide what to do after that. So just take it easy and see how it goes. But I mean, after that year, that was long time ago. And the first thing is I don't have a smartphone, I don't have a driver license, and I just feel like I don't really adapt here. So that's why in the end I chose to go to Taiwan. But then like 10 years later, things change, and now I quite like here.
Yeah, that's great. Do you think that generally though that a postgraduate degree is required for other people, not perhaps in your field of work, but what do you think about the concept generally and how much we need it these days?
I'll probably add to Andrew, if it's complementing what you're doing, not only it's easier, but it makes sense. It is primarily, it's an investment in yourself. You're investing in trying, you're doing a job and you're adding to it some, not the qualification, but that forced thinking of what else is happening in that field, where is it heading, and just getting that headspace to really focus of where that skill set is going. The other part is you're doing it for where you might be heading. So you're kind of having at least some foundation for where you might be heading. I think without some foundation, it's you're kind of fumbling. Yes, you can do research and that's how most of us develop our skills, is you fake it until you make it kind of thing. But we like not to undermine research and personal study, but this gives you a structured foundation that serves as a really good start. That I think Andrew said, like I was guessing before, I didn't really learn as much, but now it confirmed that my guess was correct. And so this gives you that foundation that you are doing the right thing.
Yeah, so even though we have so much at our disposal now with AI and research that we can do, you would still recommend going physically or virtually to do a degree. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're developing, you're drawing down on knowledge of lots of researchers and lots of things that are sort of coming, that's been handed to you in a way that you can sort of consume in what you think is useful for you. So I think that setting is very important.
A few nods there. Did you want to add something, Megan?
Yeah, I do. I tend to agree. I think as a lot of answers quite often start with, it's a bit of it depends. I think it is a really valuable thing to undertake. I also believe it's something you need to be set up for in the right time of your life, to be able to dedicate the time to it as well, and also to look at what you can give back from the knowledge you're going to learn, how you're going to improve, whether it's society, your organisation, or your closer network. So I think there's a lot of value to be had in doing a postgrad, just making sure it's at that right time for you to really give it everything and take everything you can from it.
Do you all feel like it came at the right time? No regrets?
Definitely no regrets. Yeah. I think one of the challenges, if I was having to relive life again and think about all these decisions again, one of the things that's in the forefront of people's mind is cost of living, and a lot of postgraduate education can be expensive, but the evidence and the data still shows that if you've got a postgraduate qualification, you do earn more. So you want to keep that in the back of your mind. And I think also education and the methods and modes in which we study, particularly for postgrad education, has become increasingly flexible over that time. So I would say to people that if you feel that you don't want to sign up and do an MBA or something equivalent that has quite a few years of commitment and costs behind you, most of the qualifications and courses you can now do can build. So you can do, and I know because I liaise quite a bit with Monash University in the pharmacy faculty, and so there's a bigger push now in micro-credentialing, so that's like one subject. And so if you don't have the time in your life to do a whole qualification, you can do one subject, and you can then come back a year later and you can build on that one subject to become a graduate certificate, to become an undergraduate, and you can build up to a master's if you want to do that. So it's very modular now, and I think that's a real help for people that perhaps don't want to put all that commitment in, but at the same time want to do something.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I did not know that was available. You can microdose on learning.
Yep. So,
also,
I think it's called micro-credentialing, but not microdosing. Talking to pharmacy, that's slightly different. But anyway, we won't get there.
I didn't do the degree. I don't know. But the making more money part is actually factually based. I also did not know that it's still worthwhile.
Yep, definitely. Yeah. It's still worthwhile. Yep.
Great. Make more money, writing that down.
I'm going to add on to that is that postgrad study is actually focusing more on the mindset. So my mentor told me that for undergrad subjects, it's like building the foundation. But then when you move up, you actually learn the basic, like the things you need to know. But then it's the way that you think and how you interact in the society, and then how you interact with people, how do you build connections. And just like you say, for the research and then like solid kind of thing, it's so easy to look up on the internet today. But then with that power of knowledge, how do you use that? How do you present that to people? And I think that's the main thing that change your ways of thinking, your ways of presenting, like articulating your ideas through that 1-2 years. Yep. And maybe I can come with an example. So I just had an interview with a fintech company like a couple of days ago, and I researched okay, so what do they do? What do they have to do with the licensing compliance, like when they expand overseas? But then after that, at some point of time, I was like, okay, I got all this in front of me. Why don't I just put it into 30 to 90 days onboarding plan, and then just present it in my interview? Yeah.
So you went and did some extra work just to, really
hopefully, I don't know, I went into the third round interview, but still waiting.
Fingers crossed. You mentioned mentoring as well, which we will get into a bit more, but can you tell us a little bit briefly what that mentoring program was?
You mean the work integrated learning, or like?
At Monash, so you were mentored, and then you also have been mentoring other...
Right. Yeah. Yep, so that's the one with the graduate employability development online program. So got assigned like one-on-one, and then you can schedule like maybe a weekly with your mentor, and then like ask the question you want to know or like follow structure. So basically like CV and then like interview skills and cover letters, the basic one. But then, well, just think of the right questions to ask and then dig deeper. Or well, usually they will pair you with like similar industry, so well, you also get the chance to learn from the insights and then like what are the possible career pathway, like you can extend into banking or like other financial institution like insurance, underwriting, or like in the consulting area as well. So yeah, it's quite broad. And I think the good thing is within Monash we got like the connections. So this is how I got invited back on this panel today. So yeah, like to learn something and then to give back.
Yeah, amazing. I love that. So let's move on to life while studying now, because while you're doing a master's, it is different to undergrad where you don't have much to worry about. You just come in, do your degree, maybe party a little bit. But when you return to study, what did a typical day look like? Ahmed, what were you doing back when you were...
Day? There was no day. What are you talking about?
I agree.
Definitely, it has to be at the right time because it is, especially for the intensive courses, they are very intensive. So kiss any free time you have goodbye. But one advantage for us in management is just getting good at delegation. Like you really, like for me, I had to use it as a time. I restructured my business. I put people to run the business without me. And I had to do the same with the family. I had to build the expectation with the family of I'm not going to be in family events every weekend. I'm either going to be doing assignments or I need to go on study tour. So building up the plan to give you the time to study, that was kind of very important. But ultimately, if you sit there and plan everything, you'll never get there and you'll never start. So sometimes you just have to just start and you will figure it out. It'll just come. Like I look back at some of the assignments we've done and I'm like, I don't know how we did it. I just don't know how we did it, but we did it somehow.
I mean, I feel that about my undergraduate degree as well. So I think once you're in it and you're so focused, the rest falls away.
Yeah.
Did you feel like when you were in it, it was quite enjoyable though?
We loved it. We loved it. Like especially when the pressure was on, and 4 or 5 of you working on a project, and you kind of all put in, all taking the time off from whatever busy life you had to make this thing happen by the deadline, and deliver to the quality outcome that So having that similar mindset also kind of helped. Also the encouragement of the peer group. Like sometimes you get those days and like, but there's so many people depend on you. So now it's like it kind of makes you kind of get up and just do it because you're not just letting yourself down, you're letting a team down. So that setting, like for me, worked really well.
Did anyone else have to really set up the expectation amongst family, friends that you would be taking time off?
Because I've done a couple of postgrads at different times in my life, I have, as I mentioned, I have structured it around my life. So when I did my first pharmacy postgraduate qualification, I had, can't remember if I had 1 child or 2, but one of the 2, they were both very young. And so I just linked in the late night studying with going and seeing the baby at 2 o'clock in the morning. So that probably benefited my wife because she didn't have to get up. So I'd be studying late. And so that was just my thing. So I would study late. And so part of that, I was pretty tired, of course, some days at work, but that's how I linked it in. So my first course was fairly structured. And again, every postgraduate course is different. So the first course I did, structured subjects, structured time periods, everything was structured. So I had to fit in with how the course worked. But later on when I did my MBA, it was the other way around. I was at a different point in my life. I had children had sort of grown up. I had a busier job, a fairly demanding job, long hours at work. And so I wanted to make sure that the course fitted around my life, not the other way around, which is what I'd done earlier. And so I actually did my MBA over, I can't remember how many years, but probably about 5 years, where I'd just do a subject at a time, only one. And then after I actually did a trimester of subjects, and then I would get sick of it. So I would have a semester off, and then I would regain the strength to keep going. So having done both, I think that you absolutely can do either fit the course around your life. You have to sort of, you have to tell your family that you need to have time out. And if you've got a structured postgraduate degree, then that's what you do. You put the time commitment in and you make it happen. But if that's not where you are in your life and you need to have something the other way around and you have study to fit your life environment, you can do that too. So it's not a one size fits all. I think there are many different options out there. There are many different qualifications that you can do. It's just a matter of thinking about what you want to do and how much time commitment you want to put into it.
So just out of curiosity, how long did it take you when you did press pause on the degree and then restart it for? I
always took one semester off. So I never thought of giving it out halfway through. I think when we were talking about before, I think Ahmed, you might have said that you're one of those people who are committed. I was absolutely committed. I was never going to stop it halfway through. I was always going to complete it, but I wanted to make sure that I was going to do it more as a marathon rather than a sprint. My first postgrad was a sprint. This one was going to be a marathon. It was just going to be paced over a period of time. And I found it much more enjoyable doing it that way, actually. Some people like that intensive, and, you know, I've done that too. But I find, for me, learning in my own time where I can stew over things, I can read all the background information rather than just being pushed onto the next subject. I don't find that as enjoyable in terms of my learning style. So, so all options.
Yeah. What about you, Megan? Was it a marathon or a sprint?
It was a marathon that felt like a continuous sprint. There was one pace and you keep going, but I love that. And I think listening to both perspectives, I think they're really good considerations to say, how do you like to learn? How's your life set up at the moment? How am I going to get the most out of an experience at this point in time? I think there's no right or wrong. It's just what is the right fit for you. And when there's multiple options, you have the luxury of choice. Certainly a day in the life was similar for me. So working full-time and working pretty hard to grow a new division in the company I was working for. And then the study was typically set up as a Monday and a Wednesday, 6 to 9 p.m. So you work your usual day, 6 to 9 p.m. on campus, an 8-hour day on a Saturday and most Sundays. So it was one of those, you're all in, you're there with your team, you're delivering consulting projects for other companies, and that was something that suited me. I really enjoyed it, but appreciate it's great that we can have options to really tailor our lifelong learning to where we are at any point in time.
I think it's a great point that when you're a bit older, you also know how you like to learn. Yeah. So you can apply that and say, I would like to structure my day in this way or take time off when I need.
Yes.
Yeah. Michael, did you have anything?
Yeah, I guess it is that. I suppose thinking about my experience as a career changer and what that balancing act looked like, acknowledging that it was before we had child, so it was a very different life then. There was a lot more scope, a lot more flexibility, but I think it was, a balancing act like others have described, but also there was, I guess, that decision to go ahead and change career, and then with that, and then comes a time frame, and then working out what that transition looks like. So it was kind of just fitting in what needed to fit in, but then eventually towards the end of my degree, I stopped the work I was doing, and then that enabled me to finish the degree fairly quickly and also have a little bit of a career break and a bit of travel as well. So.
And when did you start looking for jobs in the new field?
Unwisely, when we got back from our long trip around the world afterwards, but got a job really quickly, and really easily. But it didn't take too long. It was pretty straightforward. Yeah. But I was optimistic there as well.
And what about you, Bonnie? Did you feel like it was a bit of a
opposite? Because I think as international students, the situation may be a little bit different, as we may not have the luxury of time because our visa going to expire after the 2 years degrees, and sometimes if you can't find a work here, or for some if you can't find a sponsor, then you're going to leave. So you have to finish it in time, and at that time I also try my hardest to find a job, and for the international students visa hurdle is so hard because I received like more than 200 rejections when I just click submit online. So then I just try to think outside the box. So I need to find another approach because well, when I just submit the application online, people they don't actually see me. So what I think is I just walk into the bank branch in the city, walking around, and hey, are you hiring? And I can say hello in 16 language, just hello.
So was it because you were applying, they could see that you were an international student? Did that have an effect on your hiring?
So for the online one, maybe, but then I just go straight into the branch and can I see your manager?
Can I speak to the manager?
But yeah, I mean,
yeah.
like maybe 6, 7 rejections and then like 2 feedbacks and then 1 yes.
Yeah, wow. Was it anything to do with what you were taught at Monash? Or is this your own audacity?
Elevator pitch.
Yeah, okay, great. So it really helped you get that confidence.
Yeah, so, I mean, for the first time, I was so scared, and then I was like, where do I begin? Right, but then the more you practice, make perfect. So yeah, and I'm so grateful that at least I got 1 yes, and it's from the Big 4 bank.
Yeah.
So yeah, even better.
Yes, congratulations.
Yeah, so
it's quite a success story.
Life, it just happened for a reason, I guess. And like for the rejections, it's not the Big 4 bank.
Yeah. Man, 200, persistence.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And then one more thing is like when you try to like figure out whether you're going to do this like postgrad degree at this time, maybe just apply my risk assessment background. So you can draw something on paper and then like, okay, I'm going to do this. Okay, if I complete the degree, where will it take me? And then if I lost interest halfway, then do I have the capacity to fail safe? And if I quit in the middle, then what am I going to do? So it's kind of the risk management concept is that you're not like make sure that you 100% eliminate all the risk. It's not going to happen. So it's more like what practice in place that you have around your belt that in case something happens is enough to address that that gap. So,
yeah, that's a really good point. I think I might have done that subconsciously when I quit my job in public service to pursue freelancing and comedy, high risk. But you have to have a safety net as well in place so that you're not.
And then budgeting as well.
Yeah, budgeting, yes, important. I was going to say so that I don't end up on the street, but yeah, budgeting, very important. So we're going to go to our final section now for the next 5 to 10 minutes. So about mentoring and the connections that you made, are there any people who stood out or programs that stood out to help you get more connected?
It was, I guess for me, there was a career advancement program which I engaged different points in time. I think one of the sessions that was run that was really valuable, they had an actor or an acting coach that came in and really helped with that communication and some of that presentation, executive presence. I think some of that was useful, and there were some other quite practical skills that were on offer if you wanted to engage with them. So I thought that was quite good. I think for me as well, I almost viewed the 2 years as it's a 2-year interview process. So the mentoring was that peer learning. It was how you wanted to show up and represent yourself in every class, in every assignment, every presentation, and really sought that as an opportunity for ongoing feedback. And the ability to build some really strong connections with peers, with the professional Monash staff, as well as the staff that were brought in from consultants, and to have that protracted time to really hone your skills and make an impression, to then be able to have a network to draw on years and years into the future.
And you mentioned that you have kept some of those connections as well, right?
Yeah.
Have you run into people in the workplace, or how have you stayed in touch?
Yeah, not so much in the workplace. Some have absolutely been, they'll be genuine friends forever. I think part of it is it's at any hour of the morning where you're trying to finish an assignment, or you're overseas on a project together. You really build a genuine friendship. So they're now people that I'll call, and historically, if you're considering changing roles, you want some advice from someone who knows you, knows where you're hoping to move towards, people you can pick up the phone Similarly, when I moved into a role, it was an introduction from one of the professors that was able to support me in having my resume go forward. It's then over to you to do the rest of the work, but certainly those relationships and connections help.
Yep, absolutely. Anyone else who can relate to that?
I think maybe it's a different element to it, but I was thinking earlier as you're talking about too the placement side of it, and I think in something like education the placements are really important for connections because it is kind of that sort of ongoing interview process, if you like, but also just getting to know more and more people in the profession when you're doing that. So I found that really valuable, and having, I guess, sat on the other side of the fence and been responsible for staffing for many years, we do really look to those placements to see, okay, who's out there who could be a great fit for our team and who might we want to take on.
At what point in
really
your
valuable.
degree did you start your first placement? How quickly did they throw you in?
It seemed very early. I don't know, maybe it wasn't that early, but I'm sure it would have been within the first semester. Yeah,
Wow.
So the placements are central,
Yep.
I suppose, and also for something like a career change into teaching, you kind of need the placements to know if this is the thing.
Yep.
Because if the fit isn't there, the placements are really essential for finding out whether that desire to change also fits with the experience of being in front of 20 or 25 or something young people staring at you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It sounds like placements were an element of all of your degrees. So anyone else jump in?
Like the business and finance faculty, we don't really have that kind of placement thing like the health science. So, and then for that work integrated learning program, you still need to apply for it, and you may not, get accepted. So yeah, it's quite competitive. And if you're looking, for the internship, then it's even keen competition with the locals.
Yep.
So it's so hard. And I mean, the interesting thing is that I didn't, get accepted for the WIL program for my first semester. But then I just, emailed back to, politely ask for feedback. And then interestingly, during COVID, I became the mentor. Yeah.
And you also, I mean, even if you get rejected from some of these programs, there's other ways around it because you volunteered a lot too. Can you tell me about what kind of opportunities you went for?
So volunteering is like a program started by the senior schoolmates. So I think at that time it's running kind of like business modeling. So it's more like self-learning, and then we got like group of people who got our hands on to figure out how to do that. But I mean, I'm not good at Excel, so I'm not sure if I still remember how to do it. But it's a good experience that you get to mingle with people, and then you get the interaction. And why it feels so different is that I graduate right before COVID started, and then during the lockdowns, I feel I miss all those kind of interaction, those kind of connections, because the maximum I can do is just virtual one, but still during that period of time I still try to do as much as I can. And gratefully I did, because later on I get the offer from NAB, National Investment Bank, and one of the managers used to be my mentor. So yeah, small world.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe, I'm not sure if that's the case, but for the finance industry, it's easier for you to bump into people that So, yeah.
Yeah, a bit more people you mingle with in the workplace have come from perhaps your degree.
Yeah, and especially like the other thing that Monash encouraged us to build like our profile, our personal brand, is utilizing LinkedIn. This I reckon is a quite powerful tool as well. But sometimes we just click on the profile and actually you got like a mutual connection with this person, so you can start your introduction and then start asking for feedback or like career advice. So yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, there's a high chance that they will have some connection to Monash, perhaps, if you stalk their credentials.
Well, not stalk, because it got like the recommendation pop up, so it's not like stalk, but it's just a professional kind of thing.
Yeah, it's research.
So, yeah.
Megan, you were part of some committees as well. Can you tell me about those ones?
Yeah, certainly. So it was a way to really stay connected with the alumni network. And the first committee I was on was along the lines of a social impact committee which was seeking to look at how the alumni could have an impact on their community at large. So that was a great way to stay connected to Monash, to meet alumni from different years as well, and to really, for me, it was starting to build some of those practical skills when I was looking ahead to say, I'd like to become a non-executive director, which I've since been able to become. It was a great way to give back to Monash while also learning skills that helped me move into something I wanted to do at the same time.
Yeah. You probably didn't think about that when you joined the committees. And
no, it was if I'm on this, then I get to go where the food, drinks and social events are. And hopefully have some impact along the way.
Yeah, amazing. So we are going to wrap up the formal panel part of the discussion, but we will go through some questions now. So if you are dying to ask a question, please let us know. My
trusty assistant.
Yes, trusty assistant Lauren will
There we go.
help me access this. Great. So I think we have covered some of this. We had how do you balance study and work, especially if you had a full-time job. I think we have covered that off. We had what was your experience of the challenges. So challenges, let's talk about that, because we did talk a little bit about how you've got to balance your time and everything, but was there anything that we missed about what was particularly challenging going through your postgrad?
Networking.
Sleep,
Yeah.
time,
Sleep,
Time, money.
Yeah, time and money. Time and money. I mean, postgraduate qualifications are expensive, and so you need to think about that as well. It's not only the head commitment about am I willing to dedicate the time and thinking about how you're going to structure your life, but you also need to think about how you're going to finance that as well. So that's one of those considerations you need to put in place, and time as well. When you do get busy, I can think of probably post-traumatic stress disorder, but I can think of probably at least half a dozen nights where I just did all-nighters. So I just came home, did it, and then had a shower, and then went back to work.
Yep.
At least half a dozen times.
What decade of life were you in?
I was younger.
Okay, because I feel like that's something you could only do in your 20s.
I actually did one. About 2 years ago. Because I don't think it was postgraduate. I think it was actually just work. But I thought, it's harder as you get older. So there's another reason to do postgrad when you're a little bit younger, because as you get older, it doesn't get any easier to do all-nighters. I'm sure a lot of uni students have done all-nighters, but if you're doing postgraduate stuff and you're trying to, run your life at the same time, you will end up doing some all-nighters at some point somewhere.
Some very practical advice there. Thank
Yep.
you. We have we have a person named Valerie asking a question I think Bonnie would be best placed to answer. So several of you have emphasised the importance of networking as an international student starting a master's at Monash. What made the biggest difference in building meaningful professional connections in Australia during your graduate degree?
At Monash, quite emphasize on mentoring, so you get the really direct, straightforward feedback, and maybe pointers to the directions, or sometimes areas that you haven't discovered. So yeah, that's pretty helpful. And I would say just try to put on your most courage when you reach out to talk to people, because I'm an introvert, so yeah. Does take me some courage to step out of that comfort zone, and but when you overcome that, you feel good.
Yeah.
And just maybe another story to share is once I mix up and reckon the wrong person on LinkedIn, and if I was younger, then that's probably kind of embarrassing. But then at that point of time, I say, but why not? I just apologize. So then we'll look at his profile. He is the senior assistant, I think, officer at the ATO. Then I just ask for advice and feedback, and and that actually does help. And I look up his previous role, which is the company I'm working at the moment.
So everything comes around.
And I never think that doing banking finance could lead to some potential work with the law firm as well. So, and the pay is good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just sometimes you don't know. Well, that's like saying, well, if you are not embarrassed, then it's the other person who got embarrassed. But if the other person is not embarrassed, then it's a win-win.
Yeah, that's a great point, because when I finished journalism, I considered going into a master's straight away, or also a master's in marketing, or also honours. But I feel like at the maturity level or embarrassment level when you're 21 or 22 is very high. Like now I feel the same. I'm like, oh well, made a blunder, like we move on. So I'm kind of glad that I'm reconsidering it now in this stage of life. We actually don't have any other questions. So thank you so much for listening, and clearly we communicated our ideas so well that we left nothing on the table. But a classic one to end on is, what would you advise yourself if you could go back in time? Do you have any advice for the person who was considering masters back then?
Do it sooner. Yeah, do it sooner rather than later. Like I did it at a point where it's not for career advancement. For me, I just did it as a discipline to just having that discipline of knowledge for things that I think I know how to do, and that was the reason for it. But there is value in having the credential, especially when you're going for career advancement, because it puts a very different mindset. So definitely don't leave it too late, because it's worth less.
Yeah. Do you have
later
any
in life.
plans to do further education?
Hopefully a PhD is on the cards at this point, but yeah, just need to settle the businesses first.
Yeah. Any particular field that you're interested in next?
Something very different. I've been in management my entire career. I've actually been an individual contributor 11 months of my entire career. I've been in a leadership role from a very, very early age. I wanted to do something that kind of spans the changes over the last 30 plus years and the impact of now the world we live in, and just trying to do some correlations of how we're evolving as a community, I guess. So something in that space.
Sounds good. Nice. I like that you're not afraid to share it, manifest it. It's going to happen. Soon you'll be a doctor.
It's happening. I'm still cooking it. Still cooking.
Anyone else? Advice for your younger selves?
I think I'd say to myself, well, it'll be okay, would be one thing, but also that it'll be valuable. It's valuable having postgraduates in a profession. So in a profession like teaching, people go straight into teaching or they come through a postgraduate pathway. And I think it really adds a lot to the profession, having people who've done other things and that come in through that postgrad pathway. So it's really great to have that richness in the profession and to look forward to contributing that.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it's when you decide to do it, throw everything at it. And I'd say the readings, they're going to be there. Invest the time in the people you're with, get to know them. To me, you can do the reading at 2 a.m, spend the time with the people and build the relationships.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. For me, I'd do it all again if I had the opportunity. And I think probably advice to myself and probably everyone else out there as well, there is no set way to get from point A to point B. You've got to create your own story. It's great hearing how we got to where we got to, but that's not the magic formula for how to get to, if you want to do what we're doing, you say, I want to do exactly what that person's doing. Well, I can guarantee you won't get there by doing exactly what I've done or any of us. You'll have to create your own pathway to get there, and there's no set way to do that. So I think keep an open mind in looking forward, and you got to start, pursue things. Don't wait. There's never a good time. They say, when's the best time to do something? Today, or no, when's the best time to do something? Yesterday. When's the second best time? Today. So don't put it off. Pursue it, but just create a bit of a risk plan on how that's going to look. You won't regret it.
Yeah, some really great points there.
Because, you don't know what happened tomorrow, just like the pandemic. Because well, when I graduate, I'm so glad that I have that part-time, in the bank branch before. So it's not like stepping out of the society like blank. At least I got something to tell people what I was doing when I was doing my master's degree. And yeah, never say never, be open-minded. Because sometimes you don't know like what that area will lead you to, a maybe different path, like trajectory. Just like when I first started in compliance, and I never think that I'm gonna, work in a bank, and I never think that I'm gonna, look after like cybersecurity contracts. Yes, well, I'm never good at IT. Yeah, but then never thought that I end up in a law firm, and then now I got the opportunity, to manage the bar, and yeah.
I actually forgot you managed a bar. We've gone so far. I'm like, wow, it's so amazing. I'm like, oh yeah, there's a cafe.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, no exactly path can be replicated.
Yeah.
But some people, they choose to follow their passion when they first started. But for me, well, I mean, like finance, kind of security is important to me. So maybe just, work and then save some money. And then when I have, the time and money now, I can, enjoy more freedom.
Yeah, as we can see, the paths have been so different and there's no one way to do it. So thank you so much for all of you for sharing your journeys and the fun that you had here at Monash. Is there anything you wanted to end on if you were dying to? We've got 4 more minutes.
Definitely invest in the relationships. That's probably the one thing that stood out for this whole thing. The relationships has been the strongest I've ever had in my entire life, is the ones I built through at least my Gemba program. I've hired 2 of them. They work in my company. My head of operations and one of the consultants work from here. So,
Yeah.
but as mentioned before, that deep, that setting of learning really who you are and where you want to be, that you can tap into when you're stuck and when you're thinking of a change or an opportunity comes, you can tap into those people who can really give you advice, not just based on a hypothetical. They really know who you are. They know what you like, what you don't like, what you eat, what you don't eat, what you like when you don't sleep and get up in the morning. And they can apply a very different perspective and a reality to something that you're considering. And I think that relationship is very important.
Yeah, that's really nicely said.
To give back.
Yeah, to give back as well. Love that. So that's a great note to end on. Thank you so much. We will add some links to the chat where you can find out how to apply. Departments have rolling applications. You can also book a one-on-one consultation via a link as well. And we have another webinar coming up that's called Kickstart Your Careers with Monash on the 8th of September. I think one of my favourite things about being part of the Alumni Network is all the free seminars. I've watched so many on such a huge range of different topics, so make the most of it if you have graduated from Monash. The recording will be sent out next week via email, so thank you again to our panellists. There's no live audience, but can you give yourselves a big round of applause? Thank you to Julie and Scott behind the scenes as well for answering some of our questions, and thank you to the Media Lab here at Caulfield for hosting us. Thank you so much, and I'll let you out 2 minutes early. Have a great night.